Well, welcome back. Now, in this episode, I'm going to discuss your question, how to think like an entrepreneur. Now, my name is Ted Thomas, and I've been in a home-based business as an entrepreneur for many years. So I'll pass on some of that experience to you. Now, previously, other successful entrepreneurs have already unlocked the vault. In other words, they have opened the door. They've turned the key so that you can become an entrepreneur also. Now, thinking a little differently than most people is really good if you're an entrepreneur. So the good news is being an entrepreneur is really popular today. It's perfectly acceptable, even if you are a little bit different. So you need to be willing to shift or pivot your thinking, and you can be an entrepreneur. I'll give you some wild ideas as we go through this video and we're together for the next few minutes. In other words, you can be an entrepreneur for many different products that you're thinking of in your brain. Now, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, these are all familiar names of people that have made millions of dollars because they became an entrepreneur. Now, they're at the pinnacle of success. They're the entrepreneurs everyone would like to be. Now, the internet promoters would like everyone to do that. But let's try to be realistic. Let's try to get in some businesses where we can make $25,000, $50,000 on one deal. Let's try to think about creating products that are going to help people. If you can help people and you can create problem-solving products, well, you're going to be in demand as an entrepreneur, that's for sure. It's okay to be curious and ask a lot of people a lot of questions. The more questions you're asking, the better answers you're going to get. Now, my business became successful when I started asking other experienced people to tell me what enabled them to make more money, what enabled them to be able to run a business, what enabled them to do this from either a home office or from a distant place. When I started asking those questions and getting answers and then writing down the answers, that changed everything for me. How did it change? Because then I put to work the answers that they gave me. Now, they gave me answers from an experienced viewpoint, not from a professorial viewpoint. In other words, I wasn't getting book learning, I was getting real world learning. And when I started putting what they were telling me into action, well, then things started to change and I started being successful basically because I had learned from those experienced people. Now, what worked for them worked for me. Having a coach, having a mentor, having a guide is going to help you solve your problems quickly. Now, what happens is you come up with concepts and you want to put them to work. Well, that might take you months of time. However, if you have a coach or a mentor or a guide, some of these new concepts, you can put them together right away. You can find out if they work. You can find out what someone with experience is going to answer you and tell you that'll work or that won't work. All right, so rather than experiment, you might want to find yourself a coach, a guide, a mentor that'll help you put the pieces together. All right, now I'm not saying it's ever going to be easy. You're going to have to be creative. You're going to have to be flexible. You're going to have a lot of tenacity if you want to succeed as an entrepreneur. Now, professionally and personally, I think having a guide as an entrepreneur makes all the big difference, all the difference in the world. In other words, you accelerate the process and you make career changes that are worthwhile instead of struggling and struggling. So it's all in the mindset, and you can decide which you want to do. Now, it's not a matter of just changing your location, it's a matter of changing how you're thinking. So how do you think like an entrepreneur? Well, you probably got your head on backwards half the time. You're always thinking of what the other people aren't thinking about, and you're thinking about making products, you're thinking about problem solving, you're thinking about the circumstances you're in. You've got a lot of things on the mind. Well, you control your destiny. So my suggestion is, as you come up with those ideas, test them. If they don't work, don't worry about it. You're going to fail probably 9 times out of 10, but what if that 10th one turns out to be something like Elon Musk, and he said he built Tesla, and all of a sudden he's a billionaire. All of a sudden, meaning over 20 years, he became a billionaire. Okay, now, I often quote a very successful author, and his name was Chet Holmes, and he wrote a book, he wrote a number of books, but one of the books he wrote was The Ultimate Sales Machine. Well, you don't fancy yourself as a salesman, but one of the things that you have to do to be successful as an entrepreneur is you need to sell what you're doing and you need to generate revenue. But Chet Holmes had a good approach on how he explained it to people. And throughout his book, he used the words pig-headed, pig-headed. And he would take the word pig-headed and he would put a word behind it. He'd say pig-headed determination, pig-headed concentration, pig-headed focus. Okay, so change the word and use stubborn. But the point is, he said that continuously throughout the book. So over the years, I liked his book so much, I would give it to other people that were learning to be entrepreneurs or whatever, and they always came back and they remembered the pig-headed part of it. So that's what you have to do. You have to remember the pig-headed part and know that you're going to have to be determined, you're going to have tenacity, and you're going to have to focus. And those are not the easiest thing in the world. So entrepreneurs are constantly concentrating and scheming. Scheming, not a bad word, scheming to think of the next thing. What is the problem-solving product that you're going to come up with? Successful businesses are always coming from people that are making problem-solving product. So if you can solve a problem, you're going to be able to help an awful lot of people. So you're kind of getting the idea what I'm talking about. All right, now things changed for the better for me when I started talking to other experienced people. You can do the same thing by having a coach or a mentor, but you need to talk to experienced people, not just professors or teachers or attorneys, but people that are actually doing it. So today, the amount of information is amazing. There's so much on the internet, and we can do this business on the internet, or you can do the business physically. Either way, whichever way you want to do it. All right, but one of the things I do want to mention is a guy by the name of Perry Marshall, and he wrote a book called 80-20 Sales and Marketing. All right, that's a book that you want to buy. That book alone, if you'll buy it and read it, will put you on a path to success that'll make your life a lot easier. Not only will you prosper, but you become wealthy if you learn 80-20 by Perry Marshall. All right, so ask yourself, are you going to think differently? Are you adaptable? Are you flexible? So in today's episode, the question is how to think like an entrepreneur. So I started doing that, and I discovered a new business. Now, you don't know what you don't know. I'm going to say that again. You don't know what you don't know. And I had been in real estate, and I never saw this opportunity. I never saw it. But when I discovered this hidden market, I've never looked back. Now, this hidden market, thousands of people before me had already taken advantage of it. I never noticed, and I didn't pay any attention. You don't know what you don't know. All right, now I was shocked, and I was delighted when I found out this was a subset of the regular real estate business, and what could I do? I could buy homes for 10 and 20 cents on the dollar. Now, in this subset of the real estate business, called tax liens and deeds, homes are for sale. Small apartments, sometimes small farms are for sale, but it's mostly homes. Most of them are used and abused. Some are junk, but there's some that are perfect business. All right, what I'm saying is here's a local business in every county. All 3,000 counties have to do the same thing. The legislature of the state demands that they charge taxes of people and they collect taxes. So the legislature mandates that the treasurer of the county must levy tax, collect tax, and if they can't collect tax, they confiscate the property and then they resell it. Now, what do they resell it for? Well, the treasurer and the county don't want the property, so they resell it for 10 cents, 20 cents, 30 cents on the dollar. And how would you know? It's in the local newspaper. It's also on the county website. These are properties the county does not want. They want to get rid of these properties. Now, why do they even sell them? Because they need money. What do they need money for? Well, the county pays for the police department. They pay for the sheriff's department. They pay for the help to hospitals out. They pay to fix the roads. They pay for the school teachers. Pay for the county employees. So they have to get money in. So they discount the property 10, 20, 30 cents on the dollar, and then when they get it back on the tax roll, and then they get the money rolling again. All right, so that's their whole objective. Now, you can buy properties. It's going to be amazing to you because you're going to find out the county is going to discount these properties 60%, 70%, 80%. Imagine buying a property 80% less than the tax assessed value. I'm sure you could make money if you bought it for 10 or 20 cents on the dollar. So if you bought it at a low price, the margin between what you sell it for, you get to keep all that money. What an opportunity. What a perfect thing for an entrepreneur. All right, I know it sounds too good to be true. This is happening in 3,000 counties across the United States. every single working day. That means you could attend an auction and you could buy properties for pennies on the dollar. And add this to the rest of the equation. And it's the county the county treasurer will delete the mortgage and the deed of trust loan. They will delete it, they'll cancel it, and they'll take it off the property. So now you're buying properties at 60, 70, 80% discounts, and they have no mortgage and no deed of trust on the property. All right, so folks, if you're looking for a side hustle, this is the way to do it. Every county in America will be selling properties at auction this year. Some counties will have multiple auctions. How will you know? It's going to be in the newspaper. It's also going to be on the county website. The starting bids are mandated by the treasurer. They have to get rid of these properties. Folks, keep in mind, if you can buy properties for pennies on the dollar, you're going to make a lot of money. All right, now savvy, well-trained investors have been doing this for decades. Some of these properties are slightly abused. Some of them are absolutely junk, so forget about those. And some, you just clean them up and people move into them. The county rarely tries to mark the property up. They want to get rid of it because they want to get it back on the tax roll. Folks, think about this. If you can buy a property for 20 cents on the dollar and it was worth $80,000, you could sell it for any amount between $20,000 and $80,000, and you could keep the profit. Folks, my name is Ted Thomas, and I have more videos on this channel about that. But before I leave, I want to caution you two things. Be very careful before you buy. Be sure you have boots on the ground and you've checked out that property. Why do I want you to do that? What if there was a windstorm? What if there was a hurricane? What if there was a flood? What if it was next to a chicken farm? All those things would affect the value. So you want to have boots on the ground or someone else there to look at the property. The other big mistake people make is they don't figure out their exit strategy. What are you going to sell it for before you buy it? Because you want to make sure you're going to have margin. I'm Ted Thomas. I'll see you on the next video.